What's up, football fans? Big Al here on this Monday, September 26th, 2022. And we are back with a look at the college football national rankings in both the AP and in the coaches poll ahead of week number 5. It's hard to believe we're just about halfway through the college football season and we're not even to the end of September. But anyway, these are the rankings for week number 5 in both the AP Top 25 and the USA Today AFCA Top 25 coaches poll. It was a pretty crazy weekend, to say the least. Oklahoma losing at home to Kansas State. And yes, they did make the rankings in one of the polls. I'll tell you which one and where they landed. Plus, the top 5 teams in both national polls remain unchanged. So just a little bit of a preview of what's to come. All right, let's jump right into the AP Top 25 College Football Poll for week number 5. This is for the weekend of October the 1st. And as I said, the top 5 teams in both polls are unchanged. So that means number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5 are all in the same spots. So holding steady at number 1 with a 4-0 record and 1,565 points plus 55 first place votes are the defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs. They won this week 39-22 against Kent State, and they will begin SEC play this weekend at Missouri. At number 2, with a 4-0 record, 1,487 points, and 4 first-place votes are the Alabama Crimson Tide. They took it to Vanderbilt in their SEC opener, 55-3. Now they'll hit the road to face the Arkansas Razorbacks, fresh off of Saturday's loss to Texas A&M, and we'll tell you where the Razorbacks fell in the poll in just a moment. At number 3, 4-0 record, 1,483 points, and 4 first-place votes, the Ohio State Buckeyes. As they continued their dominance of the Wisconsin Badgers, winning 52-21 in the Horseshoe on Saturday night, this week they will host the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Holding steady at number 4 with a 4-0 record and 1,354 points are the Michigan Wolverines. They were 34-27 winners against Maryland, but it was a battle, let me tell you, because I watched the game. And they got a tougher game coming up as they'll travel to Iowa City to face the Iowa Hawkeyes in a rematch of last year's Big Ten championship game. And at number 5, holding steady there at 4-0 and 1,311 points are the Clemson Tigers, winning a double overtime thriller over then number 21 Wake Forest 51-45. More on where the Demon Deacons rank this week in just a bit. They will return home to play another ranked team, the NC State Wolfpack, and I'll tell you where they landed in just a bit. Inching up 1 spot to number 6, 4-0 record, 1,236 points, the USC Trojans, who narrowly escaped Corvallis with a 17-14 win against Oregon State. They'll return home to Los Angeles to host the slumping Arizona State Sun Devils, who I just got wind that they fired Herm Edwards as head coach. So now the Sun Devils have an interim coach until they hire a permanent coach in the offseason. So it's a tough time, Tempe, for the Sun Devils. At number 7, also up one spot, 4-0 record, 1,127 points, the Kentucky Wildcats. And I think this is the highest I've ever seen Kentucky ranked in the college football rankings, if I'm not mistaken. They won 31-23 against Northern Illinois to keep their unblemished record. And they're going to get tested as they travel to Oxford this week to face Ole Miss. And I'll tell you where the Rebels landed in a minute. At number 8 and staying in the SEC, 4-0 record, 1,119 points, the Tennessee Volunteers. And they're up 3 spots from last week. They won a thriller in Knoxville against Florida, 38-33. Of course, the Gators at the time were ranked number 20. And this week, the Vols are in a bye week. Holding steady at number 9 with a 3-0 record and 1,081 points. The Oklahoma State Cowboys, they were in the bye last week. They're back in action on Saturday as they travel down to Waco to face the Baylor Bears, and I'll tell you where they landed shortly. Moving up 3 spots to number 11, 4-0 record and 876 points, the Penn State Nittany Lions. They defeated the Central Michigan Chippewas in Happy Valley 33-14, and this week they host the Northwestern Wildcats. Up 1 spot to number 12 with a 3-1 record and 760 points, the Utah Utes. They were here in the Valley over the weekend, and they crushed Arizona State by the count of 34-13. This week they return home to Salt Lake City to host the Oregon State Beavers, who gave USC a scare this past week. All right, staying out in the Pac-12 at number 13, moving up 2 spots from last week, 3-1 record and 727 points are the Oregon Ducks. And talk about a scare, the Ducks survived on the road in Pullman, beating the Washington State Cougars 44-41. They'll return home to Autzen Stadium to host the Stanford Cardinals. Up 2 spots to number 14 with a 4-0 record, 691 points, the Ole Miss Runnin' Rebels. They won 35-27 at home against Tulsa, and this week they'll welcome in the 7th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats. And this is one of 5 games on the schedule pitting ranked teams against each other. Back to the West Coast as we see the Washington Huskies move up 3 spots to number 15. They have a perfect 4-0 record and 657 points. They won at home against Stanford 40-22. They're off to the Rose Bowl to face the UCLA Bruins in Week 5. Up 1 spot to number 16 with a 3-1 record, 550 points, the Baylor Bears. They won 31-24 at Iowa State and return home this week for a test with number 9 Oklahoma State. Our biggest jumper in the AP poll this week is the Texas A&M Aggies, moving up 6 spots to number 17. They have a 3-1 record and 543 points. They defeated then 10th-ranked Arkansas 23-21 in a neutral site in Arlington, Texas. And now they'll travel down to Starkville to face the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And I'll tell you where the Razorbacks fell in just a bit. The biggest drop in the AP poll goes to the Oklahoma Sooners, plummeting 12 spots to number 18. 3-1 record, 529 points. They, of course, lost at home to Kansas State by a count of 41-34. And I'll tell you, if the Wildcats made the AP Top 25 shortly. So we have 3 new entries to the AP poll. We'll see if Kansas State's one of them. This week, they're off to Fort Worth to face the TCU Horned Frogs. At number 19, same spot as last week. 3-1 record, 482 points. The BYU Cougars. They won 38-24 against the Wyoming Cowboys. And this week, they welcome Utah State. That's the Utah State Aggies. They're headed to Provo this week to face the Cougars. The second biggest drop in the AP poll is the Arkansas Razorbacks. They crash land at number 20 after a 10-point drop. They're 3-1 with 457 points, coming off of Saturday's 23-21 loss in Arlington against Texas A&M. And it gets no easier for the Hogs as they will host number 2 Alabama in Fayetteville this weekend. Number 21 sees the first of the 3 newcomers, and that's the Minnesota Golden Gophers. They're a perfect 4-0 with 288 points, fresh off of Saturday's 34-7 whooping of Michigan State in East Lansing. The Gophers are back home in the Twin Cities hosting Purdue. Slipping 1 spot to number 22, 3-1 record, 265 points are the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Fresh off of Saturday's double overtime loss to Clemson, 51-45, and they get to face the Florida State Seminoles, who are also new to the AP poll at number 23. The Seminoles are 4-0 with 244 points. They won big over Boston College, 44-14, and this week they will host the aforementioned 22nd ranked Wake Forest Demon Deacons in Tallahassee. Holding steady at number 24, 3-1 record, 209 points are the Pittsburgh Panthers. They won 45-24 against Rhode Island. And this week, they welcome the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets to the Steel City. And the last of the 3 newcomers to this week's poll are the Kansas State Wildcats. Congrats. 3-1 record, 166 points, fresh off of their 41-34 upset win at then number 6 Oklahoma. And this week, they will host the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And I also have to tell you that Hurricane Ian is currently making a beeline towards the Gulf of Mexico and may strike Florida at some point. So some of these games may be affected. And same can be said for some of the Same can be said for some of the NFL games on the schedule next week as well. Okay. Dropping from the rankings are the Florida Gators, who were previously number 20. The Texas Longhorns, who of course lost that overtime game to Texas Tech. They were previously number 22. And the Miami Hurricanes were previously number 25. So you see I'm rocking my Miami Dolphins hat. Throwback. Others receiving votes are the Kansas Jayhawks. Yes, the Kansas Jayhawks. They are perfect through 4 games. They have 125 points. Followed by the Cincinnati Bearcats at 60. The Florida Gators with 56. The Washington State Cougars, 31. Syracuse Orange 22, Oregon State Beavers 16, Texas Tech Red Raiders 11, North Carolina Tar Heels 9, LSU Tigers 7, James Madison, I think they're the Colonials. They have 4 points. The Tulane Green Wave and the UCLA Bruins both with 3 votes, and the TCU Horned Frogs with 1 vote. So there's the AP poll. Now here's a look at the USA Today AFCA Top 25 Coaches Poll for week number 5, the weekend of October the 1st. And just like the AP poll, the top 5 in the coaches poll are unchanged as well. Number 1 is the Georgia Bulldogs, 4-0 record, 1,563 points, 34 first place votes. Number 2 is the Alabama Crimson Tide, 4-0 record, 1,558 points, and 26 first place votes. Number 3 is the Ohio State Buckeyes, 4-0 record, 1,486 points, and 4 first place votes. Number 4 is Michigan, 4-0 record, 1,379 points. Number 5, Clemson, 4-0 record, 1,339 points. And again, those 5 remain unchanged. The first change you see is the USC Trojans up 1 spot to number 6. 4-0 record, 1,226 points. Up 1 spot to number 7 is the Oklahoma State Cowboys at 3-0 and 1,176 points. They're coming off the bye week. Number 8, also up a spot from last week, the Kentucky Wildcats, 4-0 record, 1,136 points. Number 9, moving up 3 spots, are the Tennessee Volunteers. 4-0 record, 1,077 points. And up 1 spot into the top 10, the NC State Wolfpack. 4-0 record, 1,015 points. Up 2 spots to number 11, the Ole Miss Running Rebels. 4-0 record, 864 points. Jumping 4 spots to number 12 are the Penn State Nittany Lions. 4-0 record and 824 points. Sorry again. Moving up 1 spot to number 13 are the Utah Utes with a 3-1 record and 822 points. Up 3 spots to number 14, the Baylor Bears. 3-1 record and 638 points. Also up 3 are the Oregon Ducks, 3-1, 622 points. The Oklahoma Sooners have the biggest drop in the coaches poll as they fall 10 spots to number 16, 3-1, 601 points. Up 3 spots to number 17, the Texas A&M Aggies, with a record of 3-1 and 574 points. The biggest riser this week in the coaches poll is the Washington Huskies, moving up 6 spots to number 18, 4-0 record, 539 points. Falling 9 spots to number 19 are the Arkansas Razorbacks, 3-1, 509 points. Up 3 to number 20 are the BYU Cougars, 3-1 record and 359 points. Slipping 5 spots to number 21, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, 3-1 and 352 points. The last 4 spots are all newcomers. At number 22, the Florida State Seminoles, 4-0 record, 252 points. Number 23 is the Minnesota Golden Gophers at 4-0 and 238 points. Back in the rankings after a 1-week hiatus, at number 24 are the Pittsburgh Panthers, 3-1 and 223 points. And at number 25, you've got the Syracuse Orange, 4-0 record and 74 points. They, of course, won their game against Virginia. It was a tight one, 22-20. Dropping from the coaches poll this week are Texas, previously number 19, Michigan State, previously number 21, Florida, previously number 22, and Miami, previously number 25. Others receiving votes include the Cincinnati Bearcats with 63 votes, Kansas Jayhawks with 59. So those two teams just missed getting ranked. Then you got the Florida Gators with 49, the Texas Tech Red Raiders with 36, the Kansas State Wildcats, who are ranked in the AP poll, but in the others receiving votes category here in the coaches poll with 30 votes, the Texas Longhorns with 25, followed by the TCU Horned Frogs with 20, the Michigan State Spartans with 13, James Madison with 11, Mississippi State 10, the Air Force Academy Falcons with 8, the Oregon State Beavers with 7, followed by the UCLA Bruins with 6, both the Washington State Cougars and LSU Tigers with 4, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and Iowa State Cyclones with 3 apiece, the Maryland Terrapins with 2, and the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers with 1 vote. And that's a look at the national rankings in both the AP and coaches polls ahead of week 5 of the 2022 college football season. Again, we're approaching the halfway mark already. All right, we will be back tomorrow with week 3 of the week that was in the National Football League. So I'll give you all the statistical numbers and my picks straight up and against the spread, how I fared in those, plus my week 4 power rankings, which I'll have up either tonight or tomorrow up my Facebook page. And then we'll do the week 5 college football schedule and broadcast teams for all the games. That's coming up on Wednesday. And I'm probably going to move my pick segment to Thursday, just like I did this past week, where I run down the entire week 4 schedule. This week I'll run down the entire week 4 schedule, make my picks straight up and against the spread, and hopefully I can get out of a funk because I've kind of been struggling. My numbers are bad this week. Hopefully I can get out of that rut next week. Here's the hoping, though. Anyway, join me all this week for all of that. In the meantime, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell twice every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching and enjoy the pigskin. Peace out.